Hello, thank you for joining us today. We will spend this time going over one of the newest MFR membership benefits, Cloud CMA. Cloud CMA is a very powerful tool that can help you put together customized CMA presentations, buyer or property reports, which are pretty much marketing reports for potential buyers, and flyers. There are several ways that you can access Cloud CMA. First of all, you can access the product directly from the MFR login page. Come to mfrlogin.com, type in that URL, and then click the Cloud CMA button. So we'll go ahead and click Cloud CMA. This takes us into the product. Now, normally, the first time you launch the Cloud CMA product, you will be prompted to register. But once you go through the registration process, there will be several tabs at your disposal. A home tab, which has several resources for you. It shows your latest activity. It shows some of Cloud CMA's updates from their social media sites and some additional news. And then you have some videos. You have a help video on getting started with Cloud CMA, while the video that I'm doing right now is going to mainly show how it works for members of my Florida Regional MLS. These videos are a little more general. And then there's a product support link where you can click on the Support Center link and have access to a wide variety of topics, articles, frequently asked questions, and some additional help videos. So that's one thing that you can see in Cloud CMA, or just the various help resources available. Now let's go back to the home page. Here we go. And now I'm going to click on the CMA tab. This is where you can put together customized CMA presentations. Now there are two ways to do this. You can launch a CMA straight from this tab. Then you would have to actually populate it with listings from the MLS. You would have to either know the MLS numbers, or you can do what's called a proximity search, where Cloud CMA will find a set number of listings within proximity of your subject property. So you can say automatically find listings near the subject property, find however many listings you want, 10 all the way up to 50, go back anywhere between 1 month and 3 years. So Cloud CMA will find those listings for you. The only danger with this is that you do not have a lot of control over which comps are pulled. So Cloud CMA will largely look at distance from your subject property, but it's not going to spend as much time looking at square footage ranges, bedrooms, bathrooms, property features. So if you want full control over the comps that are pulled, you might want to actually do a search in Matrix first, find your comps, and then launch those comps into Cloud CMA. But if you come directly into this area, you come to the CMA tab in Cloud CMA, you will then be able to put together a CMA presentation straight through here. And then buyer tours and property reports are both marketing reports for a property. The buyer tour is going to be geared a little more towards potential buyers. It'll have some guidance pages to giving potential buyers information they might need. The property report is more specific to a property. It includes things like comps, nearby restaurants, aerial photos, area information, a little more broad. And notice that for any of these tabs, the CMA tab, I have all of the CMAs that I've created before in descending order, the most recent one first, all the way to the ones that I created further back. I can delete any of my old CMAs, click the little trash can icon. I can edit any past CMA, and we'll look a little later at viewing, presenting, emailing, and sharing. So after we actually put the report together, we will go over each of those links. Same thing under buyer reports. I can delete, edit, view, present, email, share, property reports, and flyers. Before we go too much further, before we actually go into Matrix, find some comps, and then launch those into Cloud CMA to put together CMAs and buyer reports, etc., I also want to show you the Settings tab. If I come up to Settings at the top corner of my page, there are some things that I want to point out here. First of all, under the User section, I can edit my user information, my name, location, my agent photo, company name. I can even upload a company logo. Then we have a Contact tab. So if I come to this Contact tab up here, I can put in additional pieces of contact information, and several categories are given. your blog, your Facebook page, license number, LinkedIn, Twitter, your website, all sorts of these things I can put in. We don't really do anything with the MLS tab. This states the MLS with which you're affiliated. This is automatically populated for you. Under the Page Contents tab, there are several pages in Cloud CMA that you are able to fully customize. For example, you can customize an agent resume and have this placed into a CMA. Say if you're doing a CMA for a listing presentation, you're trying to get someone's business, you can include your website, your credentials in here, along with the agent webpage, client testimonials, a cover letter to a seller, a marketing action plan, a page describing your company, and then you can even create custom pages. So I can say create page over here. I can name the page, and then I can create my own custom content. And you'll see here that I created my own bio page. I created a page for the Sarasota area market profile, different things that I want to customize to put into my presentations. And when you're done with any changes, just say save. So along with being able to edit my page contents, there's another area of interest on this settings tab, the lead generation tab. This gives you a tool where you're actually able to generate some leads for potential sellers. You get a link to a What's My Home Worth website, which is branded to you. You can also share this out to your social media sites, to Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. You can also, if you have a WordPress website, add a button into your website with the What's My Home Worth website, and this gives you the script to do so. And if you have any questions on how to use any of these, what I like about Cloud CMA is that they embed several help videos into their site, so you can watch a video on any of these features. So let's actually look now at this What's My Home Worth website. I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL. I'm going to say Control-C for copy. In Apple, Command-C. And I am going to pretend that I am on my website and that I clicked on that link. So I'm actually just copying this into a new browser in this case, though. But let's just pretend I clicked on that link for my website. I'm a potential client. I clicked on this link on your website. And now I want to find out what's my home worth, and you will receive the lead. I'm going to type in the address of the subject property. We'll just do my house. Start typing it in. And Cloud CMA will autofill from Google Maps. We'll say locate property. And then the client, the prospect, will be prompted to give their name, their email, and an optional phone number. And say, send it to me. And two things will happen now. Number one, the agent will be emailed a lead. Number two, the client will automatically be emailed a CMA report from Cloud CMA, but the CMA report will be based on that proximity search where Cloud CMA will find the comps for them. Now, with that being said, Cloud CMA does not give any recommended value. They just show a wide variety of nearby comp listings and nearby comp sales. The agent still gets the lead, can do a follow-up contact with a more precise CMA report. So let's take a moment to send. It usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes, but when that sends, we'll see what that report looks like. So now I have a message saying that my CMA has been created and should be arriving in my email shortly. So now let's see what this looks like from both ends. As an agent, I receive a lead. I have an email from Cloud CMA. You have a new lead. Now in this case, I'm both technically the prospect and the agent. Let's just pretend that I'm actually a client fill out this request. They're going to say, hello, agent name. The client wants to know what their home is worth. They just requested a quick CMA, and we've already sent them a report on your behalf. Here is the email the client received. Here's the link the client received, taking them to the CMA report. And then if we scroll down even further, do not lose this lead. Talks about lack of communication being a great way to lose potential business. And then it gives you the client's email address and phone number if they provided it. So that's what you receive as an agent whenever someone uses this lead generation tool. What the client receives, let's now come to the client's email address. Your complimentary CMA. So this is the client's view. Thank you for requesting a quick CMA. Here it is. Click the link to view it. And then it talks a little bit about information about how every market's different. Once again, this is just a very quick and simple report. You can follow up with this client with more detailed information. You still got the lead. But click on the CMA. Cloud CMA actually put this together based on the settings of the last CMA you did in the system, or based loosely off the settings, whatever theme you chose, etc. That's why I had the sunflower theme, but I'm able to change my themes in Cloud CMA. We'll look at that a little later. But just keep that in mind that however you last left your settings will be how this shows up. Whatever pages you chose to put in the CMA. But instead of you actually choosing the comps and displaying those comps, this is going to be based on a quick search where Cloud CMA chose the nearest comp sales of various statuses. And notice too, as I'm going through here, my listings here are across the board. I'm seeing condos that are $39,000. I'm seeing lakefront 6-bedroom homes that are $870,000. So this by no means filters out properties that are similar to your subject. It just finds the nearest properties in each status to your subject property. So these are not necessarily very scientifically formulated comps. If you want that, then you need to choose your comps in Matrix and send those into Cloud CMA. But still, at least it gets the client talking. At least I got the lead. Now I can contact this client and we can do something a little more precise for their needs and for their property. That's the lead generation tool. Now let's actually close out of Cloud CMA. And let's go into Matrix, because we're going to pretend that we want to put together a CMA for an existing client. We want to actually find comps for that subject property and launch those comps into Cloud CMA. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Matrix button. Launch Matrix. And I'm going to come to my search tab. And in this case, we're going to do a residential quick search. And I have a subject property in mind. I'm going to choose my home in Clearwater, Florida. But before I even put anything in to my subject property, before I do a map search, finding nearby comps, before I put in the subdivision or zip code, however I want to search for comps, I'm just going to go pretty much from left to right. And I'm going to start with my status. Which statuses do I want to push into my CMA, into Cloud CMA? And of course, I want active listings. So similar to my subject property, what else is on the market and how is that priced? I want to see what's sold. What sold nearby and what did it sell for? I want to see what did not sell. What expired? Maybe it was priced too high, or it could have expired for other reasons, but a lot of times price is a good reason for listings expiring. And at times too, I might also want to throw in my active with contract listings and my pending listings. Cloud CMA will treat active with contract just like it treats active. Pending will be a different status, but keep in mind with active with contract and with pending, I am not quite sure what the contract price was. All I know is that there's a contract on the property. If active with contract, there's still withstanding contingencies. Pending, there are not, but I have no idea what the sale price is yet. For all of these statuses, I have a time frame of 0 to 180 days back or 6 months back, but I can change this. I can only go back 4 months if I want, 120 days. Maybe I want to go back a full year, 360 days. Maybe I only want to go back 90 days or even 30 days. We'll keep 180 just for simplicity. Another option, I can actually click this calendar icon or type in an exact date range. So maybe I'm only interested in properties that sold in the month of May. So I can type in 5/1/2015 to 5/31/2015, or do the same thing. I can click the calendar icon to choose the days. So that's for status. Now I'm going to filter out income up to property style, single family homes, because my subject is a single family home, so I want to exclude condos, mobile homes, anything else. Come to this side over here, choose which fields I want. Now notice, one option I have, I can actually put my geographic criteria first, and then as I put in bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., I see my count down here, and I can see how many matches I have. So that's one way of doing it. I'm going to do this a little differently today, though. I'm actually going to fill out the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, all that good stuff first. Then I am going to come to my map search because I am then able to see on my map properties that match my criteria, and that will really help me in defining map areas. So my subject property has 3 bedrooms. I'm going to go ahead. I have some options. I can say I want all properties with 2 or more bedrooms, 2 plus. I want all properties with 4 or less bedrooms, 4 minus. Maybe I want a range. I want properties with 2 to 3 bedrooms. But in this case, just for simplicity, to make life easy, because this is a 3-bedroom home, and that's pretty standard in this neighborhood, I'm just going to put in 3. I want to only pull comps with exactly 3 bedrooms to save me the headache of having to make adjustments down the road. Bathrooms is going to be a little more complicated, because in this case, my subject property actually has 3 full bathrooms, and most homes in this neighborhood either have 2 or 2.5 baths. So I can go ahead and put in a range. I can say give me 2 to 3 bathrooms. And I'll leave half baths blank in this case, because if it's a 2.5 bath house, that's fine. I'll adjust accordingly. Or if I find a 2-bathroom home or a 3-bathroom home, all that's good. Square footage, I'll decide how far I want to go. I might want to just leave this blank and not factor in square footage in my search. Maybe I want to do a 10% differential, so my subject property is about 1,700 square feet. Let's just, for simplicity, go 150 square feet on each side. Not exactly 10%, but still easier numbers. 1,550 to 1,900. I'm just using some hypothetical examples here. This is by no means the best way to search for these comps, but let's just try to find good comps to send into Cloud CMA. I'm going to leave the pool blank because I'll adjust for a pool if I have to. Then I can come down and I can add any additional fields I want into my search form. Just come down here to additional fields, say add or remove. And notice that I already put a bunch of fields in here. Garage, water view, things like that. And I want to actually use this garage field because my subject property has a 2-car garage. And I only want comps that also have a 2-car garage. So now that I put in all my criteria, I can actually start setting the geography. So I could do a zip code, I can do a subdivision, a city, and remember too, I could go into the opposite order as well, put my geography first and then the other criteria. But because I'm doing a map search, what's nice is that because I put this criteria in here already, I will know where the comps fall on the map. And I know how far out I have to go for my subject, I can set boundaries, and really customize the areas where I'm pulling from. So I'm allowing this map to pull up. Here we go. When you first pull this map in Matrix, if you have not set a default view, you're going to see the entire state of Florida. Now, if I come to this jump to address bar up here, first of all, I have a pull-down menu, and I have various default map settings, including a Clearwater, St. Petersburg setting, and my subject property is in Clearwater. So I might want to choose this, and I might want to actually come to this cog icon and set this map view as my starting default. Maybe. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I just want this to change this every time. I can type in the zip code of my subject, 33761. And now my map is centered on the zip code. Let's pretend that this property was, let's just pretend that we were in Newport Richey. And we want our map centered on Newport Richey. Type in Newport Richey. Now my map's centered on Newport Richey. But in this case, we're doing a CMA. I want to center my map exactly on my subject property. 2629 Brandywine Drive in Clearwater. And now my map is centered on the subject. Scroll out a little bit, and here's what's really neat. Give it a minute for the listings to pull. All of the listings that match my criteria, 1,550 to 1,900 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, 2-car garage, active listings or active with contract pending, sold or expired in the past 6 months. These are all pinned to my map, so I can see exactly where my comps are. The green pens are active listings. Red pens are sold properties. Black is expired. The yellow is pending. And active and active with contract are both going to be green. So now I can decide, well, where do I want to pull these comps from? And I have 3 different tools I can draw. A radius drawing tool, a rectangle, and a polygon. So I can get my radius, come to my subject property that's pinned on the map, and maybe I just want to go out 1 mile. So I just went 1 mile out from my radius. Maybe instead, I'm going to come to this eraser icon to clear these shapes. Maybe I want to be within certain street boundaries. So I can get my polygon tool, and I'm going to come to the intersection of US 19 and State Road 580. Click, 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 click. And I am tracing these exact streets. I'm tracing US 19, I'm tracing 580, and notice that the streets do have some twists and turns, and I just drew a polygon, and I'm doing my search that way. Another option, maybe I do want to do the radius, and maybe in this case I want to go out a full 1.5 miles. So I can get my radius drawing tool, draw out 1.5 miles. I'm just choosing hypothetical numbers, so this is by no means scientific, but just showing you different examples of scenarios. So this pulls a lot of listings, but you know what? I feel that this country club up here, the Countryside Country Club, is not a good area for me to draw comps from because these properties are priced very differently than anything down here or over here. So I want to exclude all of these comps in the country club. So I'm going to now draw a rectangle over the country club, come to the red dot that starts the shape, and I'm going to say exclude this shape. So while I am drawing comps within 1.5 miles of my subject, I'm excluding the listings in the country club. But for simplicity for the CMA, I'm actually going to shrink my radius back down to 1 mile, or maybe I'll go a little over 1 mile. Yeah, I'll do 1.2 miles for simplicity. And this gives me a bunch of active listings. It gives me some pendings. It gives me solds. It gives me expireds. I have a good number of comps right now. Now, in reality, I'm going to be spending more time actually evaluating these comps. But for simplicity, let's just go with what we have. So now I come to my results grid. I click the results. I can scroll between my criteria, my map, my results at any time. And I want to sort these by status. So I'm going to click on this status icon up here. So I have my active comps, my pending, my solds. And they're all going to be ordered not only by status, but then by price. And I can look, see if I find any outliers in here. And maybe I'll go through, I'll actually pull these listings, I'll do some research, find out which comps I want, which ones I do not want. And I'm going to see, okay, well, you know what, I don't like this one for whatever reason. Scroll down one more. I also want to get rid of this one, and I don't know, this one. So I did some research, and none of these seem like good comps to me. I also want to make sure that I do not have my subject property in here as a comp. And if I see anything that I don't want, I come to this refine menu down here, the refine menu on the bottom of my results, and I'm going to say discard. So I just got rid of anything that I do not want. Now I'll come back to the actions menu, and now I can actually start the CMA process. So let's just pretend that I want to use all of these comps, or you know what, I don't want to use all of these. I want to use these 3 active or active contract listings. I want the pending listings. And in terms of the sales, I think that, let me see. I want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, these sales, and I want the expire listing as well. So these are the listings that I want. I can now launch these into the different CMA products. We do teach a class called CMA Tools at all of the local boards where we go over not only Cloud CMA, but also the Matrix CMA, Realist, IMAP, the various products that can help you find comps. Back in my results, and now I'm going to actually click the Cloud CMA button. Back in my results, and now I'm going to actually click the Cloud CMA button. So this is going to not only launch Cloud CMA, but it's going to allow me to put together a CMA or another type of report based on these listings from the MLS. So now I have to start putting this together. So first I'm going to type in the client name, and this is for my client, Jane Smith. Then I can put in notes. Now the notes are not going to show up in the actual report you sent to the client, but remember how I pulled these tabs a little earlier? I pulled the CMA tab, the buyer tour tab, the property report tab, the flyer. and all of my different CMAs or reports were listed in descending order, well, perhaps I am showing Jane Smith 10 different properties. I'm doing a CMA on each one for her as a buyer. I might forget what each one is, so I can put in notes to help jog my memory. So I'm going to say buyer CMA for 2629 Brandywine, whatever other notes I want to put in for myself. Then I enter my subject property. Now, one discrete difference, in Matrix, you can actually populate your subject property from the MLS or from the tax records, and then you can put in a wide variety of fields in your subject property. Cloud CMA is a little simpler. So you're going to actually manually enter your subject property information. So I'll put in the address, 2629 Brandywine. Once again, it's going to start to pull autofill from Google. I can add in a photo as an option, but if I do not put a photo in, Cloud CMA is going to instead give me the aerial shot, I believe, from MapQuest. So I'm going to leave the photo area blank, so we're going to pull in the aerial shot instead. So I can just leave this blank. So residential property, 1750 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms. And then come to advanced info. I can put in the year built, lot size, taxes, garage, area, subdivision. Style. This is really all I can put in on my subject property, so there's not a whole lot of other fields I can enter. Then we come down to how do you want to get the comp listings. Remember how I showed you this earlier, that if we watch Cloud CMA directly, I would have to A, type in the exact numbers, or B, do the proximity search. And just remember what that proximity search looked like when we did the lead generation tool. That pulled everything. It pulled the condos, it pulled $800,000 lakefront homes. So that wasn't necessarily the comps that I wanted. But in this case, I chose the exact comps that I wanted in Matrix, check them off, click the Cloud CMA button, and now all of those comps have been pulled into Cloud CMA. And when I'm done, I say Fetch Listings. Okay, and they just pulled in. Sometimes it takes a few moments for all the listings to pull in. So let's see what we have here. First of all, on the side, we have the summary, where it gives us the number of listings under each status. Remember that active and active with contract are grouped together. We have 3 quote-quote active listings. 2 expired, 3 pending, 6 sold, and the overall summary, a low of 199,000, a high of 279, median value of 254, average value of 249. That is everything together. But then when we really break it down, we have all the listings put together of all statuses, just the active listings. Now notice here, look at this, the active listings only range from 244 to 265, with a median around 250, average of 253. The solds, 254 to 279, with a median of 265 and average of also 265. Now this is kind of interesting because a lot of times we usually see that the solds are a little lower than the actives. In this case, we actually see the opposite. So it could be the comps that we pulled that we did not filter it down enough, or it could just be some different trends that are going on in this neighborhood. So I would probably want to do a little more digging here. But I see all of these numbers here. Scroll down a little more. Here are the properties. I can deselect anything that I feel is just not a good match. Oh, you know what? This is really in a neighborhood that is not similar to my subject property. I'm going to take this one out. Click this box over here. It grays out, and notice here too that my stats automatically were adjusted for me. If I went back in, just simply check it again. Now it's back in, stats adjusted again. We'll keep this out though. For any of these properties as well, I can click on Details and Adjustments. So I'll click on the Details and Adjustments, pulls the information from the MLS, the remarks, several fields, and I'm noticing that I do have to adjust for a few things here. So for example, this property only has 2 bathrooms, my subject has 3 bathrooms. And I ran some comps. Maybe I did this based on sold price per square foot. However, maybe I did it based on what 3-bedroom homes in the zip code are going for, holding everything else constant. And I just determined, okay, well, I want to adjust for that 3rd bathroom. Come down here to Adjustments. 3rd bathroom. And let's just pretend that I came up with a value of $7,500. It could be more, could be less. I'm just going to do a round number though. And remember that if your subject property is better, you have to add value to your comp, because the goal is you want to make your comps as similar to your subject property as possible. If your comps are better, your comps have something your subject does not, you have to actually subtract value from your comps to make your comps more similar to the subject. So in this case, though, our subject is better. We're going to add $7,500. Add. At the same time, though, let's pretend, oh, wait, you know what? This comp has, I don't know, some feature the subject does not have. The comp's better in some way. So we'll type in that value. Let's pretend it's landscaping. And in this case, since our comp's better, we're going to subtract value, and let's just pretend that we're going to subtract 2,500 minus 2,500. And notice, too, that when I do this, all of my stats automatically adjust for me as soon as I make these adjustments. Now, in Matrix, you actually have an Adjustments tab where you can adjust by field. There is a Bathrooms field in Matrix where I can make all the bathroom adjustments in one place. There's a Pool field and any other field you want to add in there. Cloud CMA, you just, for every property, type in open text, whatever value you want to adjust for, with the field and the value. So in a way, this is simple because you have full control over what you're doing. In another way, though, you do actually have to go into every property, and you'll have to make adjustments for every property. So here's another, let's see, another 2-bath home. So I have to adjust for that 3rd bathroom. I'm adding in $7,500 of value. So I'll go through all of these and do that. So I just went through, I added in that adjustment to every property. My stats automatically adjusted for me, and just notice the difference here. Now, once again, to tell you a few things about adjustments. Number 1, talk to your broker. Find out what their policy is, because some brokers say they do not want their agents making adjustments. Number 2, in terms of how to find the right value, there really is no simple answer to that. There's some surveys out there. There's some appraisal tools out there that could help you. Another option, if you befriend a property appraiser, get some guidance from an appraiser on how to do adjustments and what the most common adjustment values are in your area. But talk to your broker first, find out what the policy is there. So now that we have all of our adjustments made, we're ready to go. Look at these summaries again. Come up here and all the way up to the breakdown of all listings, active listings, sold listings. And now I can give a suggested list price. Now I can type in a full range here, or type in an exact value. So I might look at this and say, yeah, I recommend a list price between $270 and $280. So I can type in the range, $270 to $280. Or if I type in an exact number, so let's just say in this case, I'm going to recommend $274, $500, just an arbitrary number. I'm not really doing an analysis here. Update. It then allows me to do a net sheet right away. So now I can start putting in expenses. So say, now in this case, I'm doing the CMA for a buyer, so I wouldn't do a seller's net sheet. But if I were doing this as part of a listing presentation and I wanted a seller's net sheet in my presentation, I can build that right here. So I can say, okay, well, the commission, or some places call it a brokerage fee, that's going to be, I don't know, let's just choose a round number, $12,500. Add a row. And remember, MFR has no opinions on what a viable commission is. I'm just choosing random numbers here. Doc stamps. I can't really do the math in my head right now, so we're just going to choose a round number, $1,000. All these are very arbitrary, random numbers. Closing costs, $750, or for the closing company, whatever that is. So I can just keep on adding new fields, add in amounts. If I want to delete something, click the trash can, delete it. And if I want to save these items, for every time I put together a net sheet, I just say Save Net Sheet Items. Once I have this done, once I have what I want, I then click Customize Report. And now here's where the fun part begins. This is where I can choose my customization on how I want this report to look. So first of all, Cloud CMA is somewhat of what we call a set and forget system, where whenever you change your settings, that's going to be what shows up next time you enter here. So these were the pages that I chose last time I came into Cloud CMA, last time I built a report. Now, I can reorder any of these pages. So let's say if I want my agent resume before my cover letter. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe I want my company before my resume. Hover over our company, get those little grid lines, click and drag. I just reordered this. Now remember when I showed you how under the settings menu, you can adjust page content for things like your cover letter, your company page, your agent resume. I can also just click this edit tab. So for my agent resume, click edit, and straight from there, it takes me to where I can edit that page. I can also add more pages into here. There's this additional report content section. So for example, say if this was a listing presentation, and I wanted to add in that seller's net sheet I came up with. Click the plus sign, and that seller's net sheet has now been added. I don't want this because I'm working with a buyer. Click the minus sign, it's gone. Then we come over to the side menu. We have these customization options. First of all, I can choose whatever headline I want on my title page, or title. Comparative market analysis, quick CMA, BPO supplement report. I can type my own custom text. I choose the theme that I want. So last time I chose the sunflower theme, but you know what, this is Florida. I don't like that. I want to select a new theme. I want the beach theme. Now I have the beach theme with the palm tree. Various color schemes available. And a lot of brokers are actually adding in their own custom themes with their brokerage's branding. So depending on which brokerage you work for, you might actually have a customized theme for your office. When you choose the one you want, say use this theme. Then we come to layout. I have some options of how this report is going to be laid out for me. So right now, and what this is basically going to do for any pages with your comps, do you want each comp on a single page with a photo and map? Do you want each comp on a page with 2 photos? Do you want a 3-column comparison where you have 3 comps per page displayed in columns, 4 columns to a page? I usually like the 3-column comparison, but whatever one you prefer is the one you should choose. I can choose fonts. Here we go. So I can choose whatever fonts I want. And then Cloud CMA has something neat called one-click reports. So maybe I want to put together these default reports. When I work with buyers, I want these pages show up. When I work with sellers, I want these pages show up. Those are going to be very different. When I'm working with a buyer, I do not want a net sheet in there. When I'm working with an existing client, I might not want my resume in there. However, if I'm working with a prospective client, I do. So I can put together all sorts of custom reports, and under one-click reports, I can say, add a new report. I can name it, and then say, save these pages. So I'm going to call this one the prospect report, or prospect buyer. Save these pages. And now it's available for me anytime in the future to choose this custom report. Then I can do another one for prospect sellers, another one for existing clients. Cloud CMA gives you six default reports, one with all pages. This has everything. Your title page, cover letter, resume, all sorts of guidance pages about how to value your home, importance of communication, the listing details, including MLS photos, all the adjustment pages, the comp property statistics, the online valuation analysis, which will compare all of your comps to the Zillow Zestimate value, both your active listings and your sold properties. And you might be saying, well, why on earth would I want to use that? Well, how many times have you been in a situation where you present a potential value to a seller and they say, oh, but Zillow said my house was worth this? Isn't it nice to have some data that backs you up? Because you can say, oh, well, but Zillow also, for these sold properties, said that the home was worth X% less or X% more than the subject. Or if for whatever reason this will be confusing to your buyer, just click the minus sign, take it out. Sold property analysis, suggested list price, marketing action plan, several other guidance pages. I can customize any of these. I can change the order. I can take any of these pages out, add new pages in. Then we have a one-click report, the buyer CMA. We have another one for the pre-listing package. These are just system defaults. These are all fully customizable. You can always add a new report, name it, and you have it for your use in the future. Let's do the buyer CMA because this is actually for a pretend buyer. When I have what I want, I simply say publish report. Now that's running, and there's several things that I can do here. Now keep in mind, as I showed you earlier, I can delete any CMA that I created previously. I can edit any CMA that I previously made. Come through these tabs again. But at the same time, on the CMA tab, all the CMAs I've done in the past, the one that we just made, I can view, present, email, or share. Let's look at those various options. Under View, I can actually view the PDF report. Now, please note that I can save this report. I can print it. Zoom out, zoom in. On my cover page, and I chose the title that I wanted. Because I did not upload a photo of my subject property, it pulled the aerial shot, in this case from MapQuest. My contact page, and remember that under the settings, I could add in any additional contact information that I want. I only added an email so far, but I can put it on my social media pages, my website, all of that. Map of all my listings. My summary of comps. And then a side-by-side comparison of my comps. Remember, I chose this format. I had the option of doing 1 comp per page, a 4-column comparison, a 3-column comparison, and for simplicity, I chose the 3-column comparison. Then some summary stats for all the different statuses of my comps. Here's that online valuation analysis that compares the either the list price or the sold price to the Zestimate value. So we're seeing for active listings here, some of these are fairly similar to what Zillow is saying. They're 3% off. Others, there is a 35% difference. For sold properties, I see what the difference is. Now, for some neighborhoods, you're going to see fairly similar values. For others, you're going to see them off by 30-40%. So it just all depends on your market. Then we have some more of the sold property analysis in here. This is going to show you the list price versus the sold price for all the sold listings. How many days were they on the market? What was the sold price per square foot? Your suggested list price page, whatever you typed in, along with some other summary statistics. And so that was just the report default that I put together. But remember, I decide all the pages I want. I decide the order. I decide the theme. I did the beach theme with the palm tree, but I could have done any other color scheme. I could have changed the font. So this is a highly customizable CMA product. So that's just the that is just the presentation view. I can also click Present, and what's really neat about this is this gives me a slideshow view. So I can click Present for the CMA. And now I have a slideshow. It's optimized for an iPad. We can show it on any computer, any device, on a projector. I'm going to click through these arrows here. There's an arrow here on the side. And it walks me through. Here's the map. And then for each category, I have a title page. So sold listings, it gives a little intro slide. Recent home sales can be the best indicator of what your home is worth. Click through all the recent sold listings. And notice too that now I can click the down arrow to show all the listing photos. Next. Keep clicking through my sold comps. Pending, here's the title page, intro slide, and remember it does say this true sales price is not yet known. And once again, click down, see the listing photos. Active listings. And click this down arrow to get all the rest of the photos. expired. Then we have some of the summary stats. The Zillow estimate comparison to the sold properties and to the other statuses. My suggested list price screen, and some next steps and some other pages. So it just gives me that nice slideshow view. And then if I were to share this or email this to someone, they could actually click here for the full CMA. So that's the present. Now what if I want to email the CMA report? I just click this email button. And remember, Cloud CMA, hence the name, is cloud-based, so all these are stored on remote servers, and you get an actual URL directly to your document. Now, as I showed you under the report view, I could have saved that report on my computer if I wanted it as an actual PDF document. But in this case, I can type in who this email is for, type in the client's email address, the subject, type in a message, and then they have a link to the CMA. I can also just come here and grab the URL, right-click and say copy, or Control-C or Command-C for Apple products, and then I can type that into my email. So that's one option. Then we have the Share button. This is neat, because now I have URLs for both the PDF report and the presentation, both a full URL and a shortened URL. So I can, once again, either share the report or the slideshow. I can send this directly to Twitter. I can download a QR code. So various options on how I can share this. So that is the CMA in Cloud CMA. I'm also able, through Cloud CMA, to do a buyer tour, a property report, and a flyer. So let's briefly look at some of those. In talking about buyer tours and property reports, I'm not going to go into as much detail because really a lot of the customization processes are going to be just like when you do a CMA. But I am going to show you a few tricks. So first of all, with the buyer tours, let's just pretend we're in a different scenario now. I have a client coming in from out of state and they want to see 5 different properties. So I want to send them a really nice branded, customized report, giving them lots of information on these properties, getting them excited. They might even print it and bring it with them when we go see the properties, whatever this can be used for. And let's just pretend they are looking in, I'm just going to say Indian Rocks Beach. And they're looking for 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos with a community pool. And we'll come here, the property style, put in condo. 7 matches, and we don't have a price range yet. Let's just pretend this is money's not an object. So that happens all the time. So we're just gonna go with that. Click results. So here are the properties that I want to get them excited about, and let's just say that I want to show them these 5 properties, and I want to put together a buyer's tour with those 5 properties. Actually, for simplicity, let's just do these last 3. We'll do properties 5, 6, and 7. Cloud CMA. But in this case, as a default on the CMA tab, I'm going to switch to the buyer tour tab. And now I can say create a new buyer tour. And notice that those listings have been put into here. So I can say, okay, this is for my client. Now this time it's for John Doe. Buyer tour for Indian Rocks Beach condos. Fetch listings. And it is pulling those listings into Cloud CMA. This page gives me the summary of prices, all that good stuff. Gives me the properties. I can deselect any of these if I change my mind. Oh, you know what? Apparently, when they were telling me that money was not an object, that's really not the case. And now they do have a budget. So yeah, this $800,000 one is just not going to work. So I can deselect it. So now we only want to include these 2. So we will do a buyer tour for just these 2 properties. Let it back in. Put it back in. I can click the details to get the full MLS details. But now we're going to say customize report. And just like with the CMA, I choose the pages I want. I can add new pages into here by clicking the plus button, take pages out by clicking the minus button, reorder any of these. Just click and drag to reorder. I can customize my headline or my title page, buyer tour, open house tour, neighborhood open house, whatever I want to do. Before I get into the theme and all that, just show you what some of the pages are in a buyer tour. So this is not focusing on comps. This is not a CMA. Instead, this is a marketing report where I have the MLS details, a buyer comment sheet where the buyer can make comments on a property, the MLS photos, mortgage scenarios. If I have an all-cash buyer, I can just take this out, click the minus sign. Nearby schools, area photos, area restaurants, which include highly reviewed restaurants from Yelp, the online valuation estimates. Choose my theme. And this is Indian Rocks Beach, so why not do the beach theme? Even though the beach theme's technically a palm tree, but we'll just pretend. Layout for any property information. How do I want it laid out? Maybe I want the one with 2 photos. Font, choose my font. And then you also have the one-click reports. So I have several default one-click reports, one for investors, one for first-time buyers. And it just changes what pages are in here, especially the guidance pages. So under the first-time buyer, I have things like my resume, the home buying process, tips for first-time buyers, things like that. For investors, I have things like buying income property. So it just changes the pages, but once again, I can add new pages, delete pages. I can customize pages. I can say add a new report, give it my own customized name, and say save these pages. So once you have what you want, we'll pretend that this is, we'll keep with the investor, because maybe they won't rent out this beach condo. Now I'll say publish report either up here or down here, publish report. And just like with the CMA, we have the same options for the buyer's tour to view, present, email, or share. All the buyer tours you created are in descending order from the date that they were created. So this is pulling up. Now let's view it. Here we go. The buyer tour, map on the cover page. I choose what I want and what I do not want in here. Here are the property details. The buyer's tour also has a buyer's comment sheet. So remember how I pulled in multiple properties and maybe I'm getting ready to show all these to the buyer. They can actually, as they're going around seeing the properties, they can rate it, they can give comments. This is not interactive, it's just a static page. All the MLS listing photos, various loan scenarios. Once again, if this was a cash sale, I could take this out. Area schools, and I can click on any of these links for more information. Now remember, these are just the nearby schools, not necessarily the zone schools. Then we have area photos. Sometimes these area photos might be from the actual subdivision that's nearby. Other times they're just the city or the community. So this might be enticing to a buyer up in Buffalo in the middle of January. Area restaurants, and once again, this pulls from restaurants with lots of reviews from Yelp. The property, and now we're moving to the second properties, the details on the second property, so forth and so on. And then as we scroll down to the bottom, any guidance sheets we put in, the online valuation summary. So we might have several other pages in here. So that is the buyer tour. Now the property report is a little more broad, and the property report can also only be done for one single property. So just like with the buyer tour and with the CMAs, I can choose the properties I want, the listings I want in the MLS, or I can come here and create a new property report, type in the client. This one's for me now, so I can type my name in. And here I can either put in an address or an MLS number. Now once again, if I chose a property straight from Matrix, and then auto-populate the MLS number for me. But this time I'm going to do an address. So we're going to type in my address, the same property we did the CMA for. Fetch listings. And here we go. So it pulls the listing from the MLS. I can actually remove any of the area photos that I don't want. I don't want this one. I don't want this one. because that's going to show up in the report otherwise. So if there's any of these that I feel are not good representations, I can delete them. Then come to customize the report. Here are the pages that are in here. Neighborhood information, the listing photos, the listing information, schools, area photos, area restaurants, the comps, the online valuation estimate for this property, mortgage scenarios. Once again, I can take anything else I don't want, put anything else in here. So maybe I want down payment resources in here. I also can choose the one-click reports that I want. There's an MLS only, an A through Z, which is a little more comprehensive. I can create my own customized report. So I created one report with all the pages that I want to link to my social media pages whenever I have a listing. So I can use this for either buyers or for my listings, any properties that I want to market. Once again, I can set the headline, the color scheme. In this case, instead of the beach theme, I did the royal blue and black. The layout of my properties, my font, and I can publish the report. Now, for the property report, you do not get a slideshow view. You only get a report view, but still. Here we go. So I'll click View, and it pulls the photos from the MLS. Once again, this could either be for a listing or a property where I'm working with a buyer, but this can be used especially for, it can actually be used for either one. My contact page, but I choose whatever pages I want in here and the order. The property details from the MLS photos, the community profile where it talks about the different, this is powered by Zillow, but just the different demographics in this community. Nearby schools, and once again, these are clickable links. Area photos, and I got to choose which ones I wanted and which ones I want to take out. Probably should have taken this one out as well. Not quite sure. I'm probably this one. Probably half of these I might just want to show like the sunset and the areas and not necessarily buildings. But I can decide whatever I want in here and what I do not want in here. My area reviews on Yelp. I'm sorry, my restaurant reviews on Yelp. Recent nearby sales. This is pulling a comps report based on a proximity search. So it's just actually pulling comps for me. The online valuation analysis is actually showing how the assessment value has changed over time for this property. But once again, I can put in whatever pictures I wanted, or whatever pages I wanted, whichever pages I did not want. I chose the color scheme, so I had a lot of variation here. And just like with anything else, I can email this report, I can share it, I can post this on my social media pages, post it directly, I can tweet it, I can also download a QR code. Now finally, let's look at the flyer. So the flyer, I just go ahead and create a new flyer. And once again, I'll type in the MLS number, I'll type in the address, but I can do an MLS number, or I can send properties over directly from the MLS. Now here, because there's only a limited area for public remarks or for property remarks on your flyer, you can actually rewrite the remarks or the description. So I can take some things out, I can rewrite this. Once again, I can also delete some area photos. So say if I only want like the street shots and things like that. I don't necessarily want buildings. I don't want the nearby hotel. I don't want the nearby institutions, the churches, the schools, anything like that. I can delete any pictures that I don't want in here. Then come to customize my report. Now the flyer works a little differently because the items you see here are not what show up on the flyer, but they show up on the property report that is linked to the flyer. So first of all, I'll choose a theme for my flyer, and I chose the beach theme again. I could have chosen any of the color schemes or any of these other themes. I can choose my layout, my font. Now with the layout, this is what your flyer actually looks like. So there's some where it has your agent photo, a large photo of the property, the remarks, and then a QR code which links to the property report. There's another one with just one big picture of the subject property. Another one with 9 photos of the subject property, the remarks, the QR code, and various other variations. So let's just pretend that maybe I want this one flyer 5 with 4 photos. I'll choose this one, publish report. Here we go. Let's see what this flyer looks like. Whatever layout I chose, whatever theme I chose. Here we go. And notice that my public remarks cut off. That's why I have the ability to edit the public remarks. But I can either scan this QR code, or if I email this out or put it on Facebook, it's a clickable code. Just click on it, and this takes the person to a full property report with all those pages that showed up on my Customize tab. So that's really how Cloud CMA works. And coming back, remember, I can email this, I can share the flyer, share it to my social media pages. One last thing to show you, and here's kind of a neat feature of Cloud CMA. I'm going to come back into my email. So I am in my email. And I just want, if I'm on the go, I'm actually going to see a property. I'm in a property, or I drove by one that I like. And I want to see, okay, well, I want to find out what nearby properties have sold for, what else is on the market or has been on the market in the area. I can simply email cma@cloudcma.com. That is cma@cloudcma.com. Type in the client for the subject line, and type in the property address in the first line of the email. Click send. Give it about 1 minute, and then we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so here we go. The email just came through. I got an email from Cloud CMA. And here's a link. Click this link. That's the quick CMA aerial shot. Because you typed in the client's name in the subject line, it says who it's prepared for. And you can do this on the go. You can do this from your smartphone, you can do this from your tablet, wherever you are. Just email cma@cloudcma.com. The subject line is the client's name. The first line of the email is the property address, and you are good to go. Now keep in mind though, this is going to be the proximity search. So the comps that are pulled are going to be based mainly on proximity, and we do see some comps across the board here. We see some condos in the $40,000 range. We see some homes that are in the mid to high threes. So you don't necessarily have control over the comps, but still a good way just to see, hey, what's for sale nearby, what's sold nearby, what expired nearby, what's active nearby. When you're on the go, it's just a good way to get that data. So that's for the CMA. Some other options you can do. Let's do a new email. If you want a property tour, tour@cloudcma.com. Same thing. The subject line is the buyer's name. The first line of the email is the full property address. Or I can do property@cloudcma.com. for property reports, or flyer@cloudcma.com for flyers. So let's try doing this for a flyer. So here we go. The email with the flyer just came through. Click on this. And now I have a flyer that was just sent to my email address. So once again, cma@cloudcma.com. tour@cloudcma.com for a buyer's tour, property@cloudcma.com for a property report, or flyer@cloudcma.com for a flyer. That is all I have today on Cloud CMA. I hope you are excited about this product. There's a lot of really nice features, and hopefully you'll have some time to delve into this and to play around, see what it can do for you and your clients. Have a wonderful day, and please check out some of our other videos on the MFR MLS University site.